Very unsure of myself most of the time, not certain if I'm saying the right things, if I am acting the right way, if I'm even supposed to be here. Very unsure of myself most of the time, not certain if I'm saying the right things.
So I am back. Sorry, y'all. I had the intro on loop. I'm still working with this new system. I'm so excited. Okay, so I decided to come to you today for a quick little lunch break combo before I go to my laser hair removal appointment, and I have some time. So I've been wanting to talk about how keeping certain people in your life can block your blessings. And to be honest, because we're going into the spring equinox, I cannot stress how important it is for you to let some things go. And it may be hard because a lot of times we come from a scarcity mindset or a survival mindset. We're afraid to let things go because we don't think new things can come in or better things can come in. We believe that what's in front of us is all there is, or is all there will ever be, or whatever's in front of us is the only thing that's available. And it really takes you stepping into a higher perspective for you to understand that that's you creating your reality with that belief system and with that mindset. But you could create a different reality by adapting a new mindset of believing that new is out there, better is out there. And if you are holding on to things or people that no longer serve you, they may have served you in a past season, but you're not willing to let go of the people associated with that season, then you're not ready to truly step into a new season in your life. You're only wanting to stay in the season where you connected with those people and you had a lot of commonality, you had a lot of similarities. There was just a lot that you connected to them on or with, and now it's just time for you to like move on. And I noticed that when we have this conversation, like letting people go is not always beef. It's not always this thing where you have a falling out. Like sometimes you simply separate from people because life is calling them in this direction, and then life is calling you in this direction. And sometimes it's necessary for you to separate. But at one point you shared a season together, you shared a chapter together, and now you are disconnecting. So a lot of people think that when this happens, it's beef. It's never beef. Y'all, I only eat beef like steak. I love steak, but I'm not beefing with nobody. I just don't think beefing with people, I just don't see the purpose in it. Because I got my own demons and I'm fighting my own battles. It's just, I don't have time for that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hold on, let me put y'all on the screen. Let me be extra. Okay, so we have, let's see who we have in the chat. Hold on. Oh, Asha, Abigail, Cinderella, Tamika, Island Gal. She was the first one up in here. Miss Fortune. Hey, girl, how you doing? Is it Vania XO? Let's see. Is it Nuza? Asha, hey girl, Bree, Dominique, V, Island Girl, Luna, Ivy. Hello. Thank you for joining. Okay, so let me get back to the main screen. Hold on, I want to play this video really quick. Shout out to everyone that's joining. Okay, it's this one.
Now, I love Kendrick. I love the fact that being a...
I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna come back.
When everybody is right here, everything is good. But when you start leveling up and you're here and going there, People don't like that, and it's unfortunate. But the one thing that I want you to recognize, God is not going to bless you the way that he wants to bless you when you have the wrong people around, because he does not want them to be a part of the blessing. And I had to learn that. Everybody who started with you from the beginning, it doesn't matter if you knew the people 30 years, 40 years, 100 years. God will eventually show you their true feelings for you. And it's not always a good feeling. But you have to do what he's telling you to do. And you cannot think that you got to take everybody along. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. Look, I got tears coming out. My last.
I'm just telling you, everybody cannot go where God is taking you.
Woo-wee. So let's get into it. Y'all know I love to give my own opinions regarding these spiritual perspectives, because it's something that has consistently happened in my life, where there was a season that I was in, and there were certain people that were around me that I was holding on to just for the simple fact that I've known them for a while. And I also, at the time, did not know that I had abandonment issues. Like, I take friendships or connecting with people in general, I take it very serious. I'm not the type of person that just easily disconnects from people, or even though I went through a season in my life where I was detaching from people, but I was detaching because I was starting to use my discernment in that way to where it required me to disconnect from people. But before me going to that or entering that season in my life, there were other seasons where I hung on to people, like clinged, literally. Letting them go would be like the end of the world for me, because we have memories together, we bonded together, we have history, and it always burned me in the end, because I was the type of person, like, I would be loyal to a point of my own demise, because I strongly believe in loyalty. I believe in being there for people. I believe in also accepting people for who they are. But part of that was because I suffered from abandonment issues. And so when I make friends with people, or when I am in community with people, I take it very serious. Like, I lean on my friends as if they're family, and vice versa. I expect that. And so I was going through a season where I was holding on to people, thinking people would be there until the day that I die. And it just was not realistic at all, because sometimes when you meet people in a certain season in your life, everything's great. But like, if you start to evolve, or if you start to change in any type of way, that takes you completely out of alignment with those people that you met and you connected with, and everything was great in the beginning. But once you start to change, once you start to grow, once you start to try to better yourself, you have to understand that sometimes your growth takes you out of alignment with other people. And will it be all people will it be like every single person you have to let go of? No. Sometimes it's just those certain type of people where you grow, and you literally grow out of alignment with said people. Now, my best friend, no, this is staying up. My best friend that I've been friends with since middle school, we were able to stay connected and stay friends because our growth actually kept us in alignment. But say I didn't grow or she didn't grow, then we wouldn't be in alignment with each other. The only way we would still be in alignment with each other is if we both chose not to grow. But because we're choosing to grow, we stay in alignment with each other. So you'll have those special relationships where you can grow freely, you can grow and just grow over so many years, and you still stay in alignment with that person. I've seen this in marriage, I've seen this in relationships, but I've also seen this in friendships. When you're able to grow with your partner, or when you're able to grow with a friend, you will always stay in alignment with them, and that is what makes your friendship purposeful. We try to make friendships purposeful based off of history, based off of loyalty, based off of we just went to the same school together, we went to college together, and things like that. your friendship should be based off of growth, because then you're not putting limitations on yourself, but most importantly, you're not putting limitations on your friendship. You're not putting limitations on your marriage or your relationship with your significant other. You are allowing both parties to grow and to prosper, and that's going to be way more fulfilling. I see a lot of people hang on to relationships, platonic, romantic, whatever the case may be. Sometimes family members too, where you cling to them out of loyalty. You cling to them because they're family. You cling to them because of desperation or abandonment issues and things like that. But they're holding you back. They are holding you back. You could be prospering. You could be out here truly spreading your wings, but you're limiting yourself by keeping yourself in this season that you've outgrown, which means you've outgrown the person that you became very close to. And sometimes that happens. And so instead of us choosing ourselves, we choose to stay, and we choose the other person, and we choose to stay in the season that we've outgrown personally. And so we choose to be in this space with them. But then that's not fair to you. So now, how do you feel? You feel stuck. You feel unfulfilled. You feel like you're just like there's this unsatisfying sensation that you carry with your day-to-day life. Everything that you do, you just feel like something's missing. And it's because you are bigger on loyalty with people than you are when it comes to being loyal to yourself. I never hear people talk about how I'm loyal to myself. For you to be loyal to other people, it will require you to first be loyal to yourself. Because for you to be loyal to yourself, it involves you being authentic, and it involves you being true to yourself. So how can you be loyal to others and that's holding you back in life, but you're not loyal to yourself? That's also taking you out of alignment. To truly be in alignment, you have to be loyal to yourself first, which makes you true to yourself, which makes you authentic. And then you can be loyal outside of that. But sometimes we see that we shouldn't be loyal to certain people anymore because they're not in alignment with us anymore, which means I can't be my true self while being connected to them. So at this point, who should you be more loyal to? At this point, you got to be loyal to yourself, because if you're not loyal to yourself, you're not true to yourself. You're not being authentic. You're limiting yourself. You're dumbing yourself down, and you're making yourself small, which forces you to play life small. And that's not fair to you. So sometimes you have to disconnect. And again, it's not always a beef. It's not always a falling out. Like sometimes it's just a simple separation. This is no longer working. I feel like we've outgrown each other. Like sometimes those conversations just have to be had. And it's not a knock to anyone. It's not that you're better than them. It's not that you feel like, because I saw B. Simone where she felt like she had to let go of all of her friends because she just felt like she's not there anymore. To a certain degree, I can agree with her, but I've just seen different patterns with B. Simone. I believe that B. Simone is the problem. I just have to say that. But if she was in her higher self and she decided to make that same choice and decision, I could actually agree with her. I could actually support her choice. But just me knowing, like, seeing B. Simone and the many different patterns I've seen her go through, she's trying to find herself. So she feels the need to disconnect from those people that are associated with an identity that she was once upon a time that she was in. And now that she no longer wants to associate with that identity, she feels the need to let those friends go. So B. Simone is on a different journey where she's really trying to find herself. And so she's poking around, she's doing this, she's doing that. And so she's trying to find herself. So she felt it was necessary for her to disconnect from those group of friends that were associated with an identity that she no longer relates to. So I get that. So another point that I want to make too, when it comes to letting people go and like really elevating too, is that your life does get better. Like it does. It does. If you are out here being pure with your intentions and you actually do right by people, when you let people go, it removes a blockage so that your blessings can come in, so that your manifestations can come in. And sometimes you have to let people go because they come with hidden intentions. They have negative thoughts about you that you don't know about. And sometimes the negative thoughts are projections, because they feel like you can't. And so that's the energy that they carry. It's not always they're jealous. Like sometimes they're just very negative. Sometimes they're pessimistic. Sometimes they don't have an evolved mindset. Like sometimes they like to just be where they are and be comfortable with that, because it scares them to step outside of their comfort zone in their way of thinking to support you with this idea or this goal that you have. And so they project that on you, or they may simply just carry the energy with them, and they believe that, no, that's not something you can do, or no, that's not something you should do, because in their mind, their limitations tell them that they can't. So what makes you think that you can? And so sometimes when you're around people that have that type of energy, it holds you back. You have to be around like-minded people that have the foresight, or they have the understanding that your vision is your vision, and they are just there to support your vision. But then with these people over here, you know, the ones that you probably need to leave behind, they don't support your vision because they can't think that far ahead. They don't have the foresight to. But then they also don't trust themselves enough to think like that. But you do. And do you see how you're not in alignment with this energy anymore? At one point, you may have shared the same thought process, mentality. You may have shared the same limitations. But if you're truly evolving and you are truly leveling up, you're freeing yourself from that mindset. It's taking you completely out of alignment with that person now. So, and it's not that you're better, it's just you're not in alignment. So I plan to do my friendship workshop on my Patreon on this Friday. And so we're doing it on Valentine's Day. And in the affirmation that we're focusing on, it literally says, I attract beautiful, loving, and aligned friendships that bring me joy, understanding, and support in my life. So I'm going to ask you, are you connected to people that are in alignment with who you are from an authentic place? Are you connected to people that are truly in alignment with your thought process and your mentality? If the answer is no, you are holding yourself back and you're blocking yourself from your blessings. And sometimes this could be in a relationship. I've seen this a lot. Like I've seen women in relationships where they want to grow, but the man does not. And the man that they're with is holding them back because the man puts limits on the woman because he could be pessimistic, he could be very negative, or he just wants to live a different life. Sometimes we are in relationships with people that don't want to be awakened. They just want to live the mundane lifestyle. They don't want to be purposeful. They don't want to walk the path with you. They think what you're doing is just not something that they want to do. And so it creates a separation between the two of you energetically, which causes you to feel like you should separate from them or you should distance yourself because it's not helping you when it comes to what you want, which is you want to grow, you want to evolve, you want to ascend, you want to experience new things, you want to try new things, you want to have a different lifestyle. And sometimes the person that we're in a relationship with holds us back from that. I've been in a lot of relationships with men who could not see my vision, could not support it, wouldn't support the growth because they were insecure and they were afraid that if I reached a certain level that I would leave them or I would no longer be attracted to them. Like there was like a lot of insecurities that they would project all because I wanted to grow. So in order for me to be with the man, I had to be comfortable with just being content and no longer growing in life and just making myself very small to fit in his world so that he could be comfortable. But I wasn't comfortable. and I wasn't happy because that was not what I wanted my life to be. I wanted my life to be so much greater than that. And his greatness was very small for me because to fit in his world would require me to stunt my growth. And that's not fair to me. So I see this a lot in relationships, especially with the opposite sex. It's so important that you don't just find love, but you also get with a person that wants to grow with you. And growth has to be the center because you will always be connected and you will always be in alignment. You will be equally yoked. And there will be conversations that you will have. And then there will be even conversations that you don't need to have because growth is at the center of your relationship. A lot of people focus on love. And I believe love can be beautiful, but growth is what will always keep you connected. Love can only do so much. Love is like an emotion. It's an expression, but growth is something that will always keep you connected. And so a lot of women focus on love and that's it, but they don't focus on the growth. So they enter these relationships with men and it's like this stagnancy where you feel like you have to pull and push the man to want to do this or want to do that for himself. It's not even that you want him to do it for you. You want him to do it for himself. So a lot of women focus and they put a lot of fixation on love and not growth. And that's so important, especially if you're a spiritual woman. Growth is your purpose in life. Growth is a part of your journey. It's a part of your path. It's not something that you can just abandon at any point in time. Like it's something that in order for you to truly feel fulfilled in life, you're always going to have to experience some type of growth along your journey for you to feel enlightened, for you to feel awakened, for you to feel like you're living and thriving. Like you have to be able to be connected to somebody like that. And so sometimes you don't always feel that connection to your partner. Like sometimes you feel that disconnect. And a lot of times the disconnect doesn't come from, oh, he doesn't take me out, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. The disconnect is the lack of growth. And you expect more from your partner because you are all about that and your partner is not. And so it's not really them sometimes. Like sometimes it's just that person is not for you. And instead of you coming to that acceptance, I've seen women just stay in the relationship, stay miserable and stay stuck. And then they look outside of the relationship. They start to get the greener grass syndrome. And then all of this is starting to become self-inflicted. So now it's like, is it really the man or is it really you? And then you tend to, I know women, we tend to check out of the relationship when we no longer feel that connection. And if your way of feeling that connection is through growth and you're not feeling that connection with your partner is probably feeling that disconnect as well. It's just a relationship now where you're only staying because of history and that's it. That's it. You're only staying because of history and that is it. I don't know what you mean by that. So a lot of women get caught up in the history, but sometimes you outgrow people in relationships as well. You really do. So I'm going to tell the spiritual girlies, when you're out here making new friends and when you're out here creating connections through companionship and things like that, romantically, platonically, whatever the case may be, associations, whatever, right? You have to make sure that the person or the people that you're connecting to, they want to grow in life. If not, it's never going to work. You're always going to reach a level with people like this where you hit a wall because you meet them in a season, everything's great, you're in alignment. But if you choose to grow and you're with a person that doesn't want to do that, it's not about that at all, you're going to always outgrow people that you connect with. And again, once you start to take on a different perspective, you start to evolve mentally. You start to use your discernment. Then you're not going to waste time connecting to people that you know you're eventually just going to outgrow. You're going to start connecting to people that it makes sense for you to connect to because they will grow with you. And so you'll be able to go through many different seasons with them. But if you continue to connect to people that don't want to grow in life, you're going to continue to experience friendship fallouts, friendship disconnects, relationship breakups. Like you're going to continue to attract people like that. And it's a cycle that you can break. It's a cycle that you can get out of. But it's something that you have to start using your discernment when it comes to connecting to people, and stop looking at it from a surface level perspective of, oh, we have this in common. Oh, we have these similarities. Oh, we like to do this and we like to do that. You can have associates like that. But when we talk about friendships is always going to be on a more intimate level. When we talk about romantic relationships, it's always going to be on a more intimate level. Associates, like, yeah, you can have your associates where you do certain things with, but understand that those friends are probably just going to be for a season. And that's okay. But if you're out here trying to build meaningful connections, meaningful relationships with people, the number one thing that you need to look for is, okay, growth. That's something that they prioritize in their life. And then you can get into chemistry, similarities, things, similar interests and things like that in order for you to truly make a solid connection that will be around in your life for years to come. Because that is something that you'll be able to, that is someone that you'll be able to stay connected to and be in alignment with, because you're both growing in life. And if you met in a certain season, even if there's some distance, there will never be a disconnect because they're steadily growing in life. So keep that in mind. I don't want this video to be, I don't want it to be like, oh, I leveled up and so I'm just leaving these people behind because I'm better. It's really not about that, y'all. It's truly about you experiencing growth in life, and you are no longer in alignment with certain people. And I'm going to tell you the quickest way to determine whether or not you are truly still in alignment with a person. It always starts with their mindset. It always starts with their mentality. Always. That's how you can tell. It's not about if they got the job or not. It's not about if they're making more money or not. It's really about their mindset. And if you feel like you've outgrown a certain type of mindset and they're in the same mindset that you have outgrown, you're no longer in alignment with that person. I don't care who it is. And you have to understand that the mindset, it associates with certain, the mindset associates with certain outcomes, certain desires. It also associates with how you attract things into your life. And so if you have an opposition that's thinking the opposite of how you think, and you're sleeping next to them at night, or you're laying next to the opposition, or you're friends with the opposition, you're breaking bread with the opposition. And when I mean the opposition, the person that is thinking you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, or is thinking more negatively or pessimistically, or they carry the scarcity mindset, that feeds off of you. So that is something that you're going to have to think about, because now they're in your energetic field, and that's the energy that they carry. And how can they attract abundance? How can you attract abundance? You can't. You can't attract abundance. And then, have you ever thought that sometimes when God blesses your life, the people you got around you, they would ruin it for you? Like, they would ruin it. Like, sometimes God doesn't bless you because you have certain people around, and they would literally ruin it. They would ruin it. They would ruin it. I will never forget, because I have a little story time. I will never forget, because God works in mysterious ways. I'm a big believer of that. But my ex-best friend of 10 years, when we disconnected because she couldn't be happy for me. Period. She started bullying me, body shaming me, started making slick remarks, something she never did. She just started doing this. And I bought a BMW. I moved to Houston. I went on a vacation, and it was like all of these great things were happening for me. And this wasn't my real blessing. This was just a test. It was a test for me. It was a test for her. It was a test for my other friends. She didn't pass the test because this wasn't my real blessing. It wasn't. Like, and that was the thing. I'm thinking I'm being blessed, but no, I was actually being tested. I was being tested. My real blessing came after she left my life. God knew that she was going to respond the way that she was. God knew that she had horrible intentions. God knew that she was not going to celebrate me. So God set it up to where I'm thinking, this is true. This is my blessing. This is my blessing. The whole time it was just a test. My blessing actually came 2 years or I would say 3.5 years after the fact, when I moved in this apartment, and then I got another car, and then I was able to go on a different vacation. So it was almost like God threw a little curveball, threw some bait, saw how people were going to react, saw how I was going to react, and then blessed me after the fact. Saw how I was going to handle the situation. Because I could have crashed out. Like, I'm just being honest. I could have crashed out. Never had someone do me like this. Like, it was the craziest thing. I could have crashed out, but I didn't. I gave it to God. I gave it to my ancestors, and I just let it go. I didn't try to defend myself. I didn't care what was said, what was done. At the end of the day, I just knew that I have to give this to God. Like, I can't fight this myself, which was what I was supposed to do. So when the season ended, I got blessed in a real way. And that's when my life really changed. It was not before. I thought that the blessing was what it was at that time, but it really was a lesson. And then I got blessed 3 times better. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, sometimes God will not bless your life. Because I think about, if she was around, how she would try to sabotage the great things that are going on. And so he threw her a bone. She took the bone, she took the bait, and then decided to bless me in a different way. And now it has opened my eyes to the fact that if God would have blessed me this way the first time, she would have tried to ruin it. Like, she would have tried to sabotage it. She was around some new friends that I had made, because we had a long distance type of friendship. So I had made some other friends as well. And she was trying to sabotage those friendships. Like, I found out later that she was calling them and contacting them behind my back and trying to make it seem like I had scammed them from the trip that we took. And so she was calling them, asking them how much they paid, what was their portion, as if I wasn't charging everyone the same price. Like, it was the craziest thing. And so she also showed me that I can't have her around any new friends because she's jealous of the new friends that I have. So when I say God, spirit, whatever you believe in, through a test and tried to see like who around me would actually pass it, it exposed people. And I was able to see them for who they really were. And it was the craziest thing. And so then after all of that passed and I had to deal with the cyber stalking, the cyber bullying and everything like that, then God blessed me in the way that God wanted to bless me all along. And then this person was no longer in my life. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a real thing. Like, sometimes the reason why you're not being blessed in the way that you are desiring is because you're keeping certain people around. Maybe God has shown you who they are and you're not accepting it. Because I could have tried to work it out with her and be back friends with her simply because we've been friends for 10 years. I could have done that. I could have missed out on the blessings that God had for me, waiting for me on the other side, if I would have went back and rekindled the friendship. But something in my spirit told me, no, I could not shake the treatment, the behavior, and just how she was acting towards me. I could not shake it. The worst part was, at the time, I didn't even know everything. I didn't know she was contacting people behind my back. I didn't know that she was manipulating people with a sob story like she's a victim. I had no idea she was doing all that. I didn't even know she was trying to ruin my reputation. Something in my spirit said, I need to let this friendship go. So I let it go. And it was hard. Then it got to a point where it wasn't about keeping the friend anymore, because I started learning that she was contacting people. She was texting people and manipulating people to try to turn them against me. She was doing a lot of weird stuff. So then I started coming to the realization that this is no longer about if we will be friends anymore. This is now transitioned into, am I going to crash out? Because I never had anyone just attack me so much and would not stop. Like, I never dealt with an obsessive energy that would not stop bothering me. Like, from cyber stalking, turning people against me. Like, she turned obsessed when I said that I did not want to be friends with her anymore. And God was still testing me. Spirit was still testing me during this time to see how would I handle this. Will I crash out? Will I like try to fight for people to hear my side of the story? Will I feel the need to be heard, or will I just let it go and just let God handle it? I decided to let God handle it. And so with me letting God handle it, and listen, it took 2.5 years. We're not talking about, oh, God handled it and it was handled 2 weeks later, a month later. No, God handled it and it took time. Sometimes when God handles things, you have to allow people to set themselves up first. So that may take time. That may take years. You may not even see what they have to reap when it comes to what they did, right? But you let God handle it. So God handled it. And then I would say 2 years after the fact, I got blessed. So like my life changed swiftly, quickly. It was like almost overnight. It was the craziest experience I've ever had in my life. And in that moment, I was grateful for how I handled the situation, because I could have handled it so many different ways. But I decided to just give it to God, let it go. And it was very triggering because I used to be bullied as a kid. And so to have someone that you've been friends with for a long time turn into your biggest bully and try to tarnish your reputation and try to turn people against you when they bullied you, and that was the reason why you no longer wanted to be friends with them anymore, was insane. But I decided to like just let it go. I also decided to take this time out in my healing journey to heal how she was triggering me, because she was triggering me because I was bullied. Those are things I had not addressed emotionally. All the little antics that she was doing, she triggered things in me that I needed to heal. So I decided to take the opportunity to say, you know what? God has given me the opportunity to heal these things from my past that I forgot about. God has given me the opportunity to heal these triggers that I forgot about, the emotions that come with the triggers that I forgot about. So you know what? I'm going to take the time, instead of responding to her manipulation, I'm going to take the time to heal these issues that I have. So that's what I did. So I spent 2.5 years Reiki healing, breathing work, breathing exercises. I went to therapy. I decided to use those 2.5 years to really focus and work on myself. And after I got done doing that, I got blessed. So I believe that there are rewards for you doing the right thing, but I also believe that you should want to do the right thing because it's simply the right thing. I don't feel like you should only want to do the right thing because you will be rewarded. But I also believe that when you're done wrong and you truly have pure intentions, that you will be vindicated. It just won't be in your time. It will be in God's time or divine time, and however you look at it. This happened to me a few years ago. I thought I needed closure, but I'm so glad I let it go. Yeah, and this is another thing too. When it comes to this conversation, do you really need closure, or do you really just need to let it go? How do you feel about telling ones who betrayed us to blank, to wish them well instead of wish them what they, or to wish them well instead of wishing them what they deserve? Honestly, when I say give it up to God or give it up to your ancestors, I don't wish people bad, because I just don't. In order for me to wish somebody bad, even if it's truly what they deserve, I have to be in that energy with them. So I just wish people well because I want to live a well life. I don't make it about them. I make it about myself. So I wish them well because I wish myself well. Yes, I definitely practice meditation. I do it with candle work. I honestly didn't want the closure with the friendship because I just saw too much. Like, I was just like, it was like one of those situations where you don't even look at them the same. Like, you look at them as a totally different person. Like, you look at them as a stranger. Like, you look at them as somebody that you don't even know. Because I never thought a friend could do that. I never thought she would turn into a bully like that. Turn into. Never saw her as a bully. Always saw her as a kind person. But after that, it was just crazy. Like, it was crazy scary how she wouldn't stop. Like, I think two things that made it crazy was she bullied me. That's the reason why I disconnected. Like, imagine somebody calling you out your name, speaking down to you, and the only thing you wanted to do was address them on how they body shamed you. And then they further bully you and try to be the victim in the situation. Like, that's what was throwing me off. Like, that's what really was throwing me off, y'all. That's how we ended up having a falling out. That she was body shaming me, but was trying to make it seem like she was just joking. And it's like, you ain't never joked about my body like that ever before. And you got to understand that I used to be a bigger girl. And so she would never do me like that. But now that I lost weight, you now want to joke and body shame me? It was just the weirdest thing. So that's what was really throwing me off. And then I believe that when you confront somebody and they don't want to own up to what they did, they want to point out how they basically don't really like you. You see their true colors. So it just made me question, like, who have I been friends with this whole time? But see, God knew the whole time. That's why God was like, I'm trying to get you away from these people. Seriously, I'm trying to get you away from these people. And as soon as I got away from these people, I'm telling you, my life got so much better, y'all. So much better. Yes, like sometimes your old friends want to keep you stuck in life. They don't want you to be better. She didn't even want me to be friends with other people. I picked that up when I was on the trip. She had big issue with, she knows me as Kiana, or she'll call me Key, but that's high school. So I took on the nickname Yoni. So like my new friends would call me Yoni. She had an issue with that. Like she hated how people call me Yoni. And by the way, Yoni is a nickname that I made from my family. So my parents, my baby cousins, they call me Kiani. So I shortened it to Yoni, and she has such a big issue with that. Like, it was just so weird. Like, she did not want me to evolve at all, y'all. She wanted me to stay Kiana. She wanted me to stay Key. And it's like, I love Kiana. I love Key. I love Kiani. I love Aisha. My parents call me Aisha. I love all the many different phases of myself. But she didn't want to accept all of me. She only wanted to accept Kiana, Key, the girl that was timid, that didn't speak up for herself, that was very shy, super insecure, that was outcasted, and that was very awkward in her body, was very just not confident at all. That's who she wants me to be in order for me to continue to be friends with her. So sometimes your friends will literally hold you back simply because they feel that if you are to grow and you are willing to do what they're not willing to do when it comes to your growth, they feel like you're going to do better than them. They feel like you're going to do so much better than them. And that bothers them, especially if at one point you were the friend that they pitied. And I just got to be honest with you. I was the friend that they pitied. And so when I didn't need their pity anymore, it became a problem. And then that's when I realized sometimes your friends are not supporting you. Sometimes they just pity you. And it makes them feel better that you're doing so much worse than what they're doing. Like, they could be doing bad in life, but you're doing worse. And so it just makes it better. So I just started picking up on that. Like, and I'm not the type of person where everything's a competition, because it's really not. Like, I got my own problems. I don't have time to be competing with you, because I'm low-key competing with my past self. Like, getting over the fear of being seen, letting go of my control issues, putting myself out there to meet new people so that I can expand my mind, so that I can elevate. It's just a lot of that. And it's just, I got my own problems. Like, I don't got time to be competing with other people. And so that's when I started seeing the competition. And I didn't know it was a competition. I had no idea it was a competition. So it's just sometimes your friends, they want to keep you stuck. They do. Sometimes the man that you're married to or the man that you're in a relationship with, they want to keep you stuck. They don't want to grow with you. They just want you to stay with them and be content and be satisfied. But maybe that's not what God has for your life. And how will you know if God really wants those people to leave? Y'all just ignore Gotham City in the back. Did your life get better? Does it get better? That's what I want to know. Let me switch back to my reaction screen.
When everybody is right here.
Does it get better? Let me see. What time is it? Let me choose the next one. Oh, this is huge because I used to be so insecure, y'all, with this.
People that want to win be in the house. Everything in the house is set up for winning. Reading books, working out, you know what I'm saying, going to sleep early, cooking their own food. Like, people that want to win is in the house. And when you in the house, you ain't got a lot of friends. So naturally, bro, winning is going to be lonely, man. And not only that, man, people going to hate you just because you doing something better, just because you got something better, just because you look like you got something better, whatever. They just think you're better. So they going to see they flaws, and so people just not going to like you because they don't want to do the stuff that they need to do to win.
I used to be so insecure about y'all being in the house. I used to be, you looking at the girl that be up in the house. Seriously. But see, people used to think I was just up in the house just to be in the house. I was reading. I was going to the gym. I was making my meal plans and prepping. I was locked in on me. I was so locked in. Y'all have seen me locked in for years. I wasn't just at home, just being a homebody. Like, I was making opportunities for myself. I was creating opportunities for myself. Literally. Educating myself, fitness, nutrition, making my meals. I was literally feeding my soul. And people used to give me such a hard time about that. Oh, you have no life. Oh, you're always in the house. Oh, you don't do this and you don't do that. And you don't do this and you don't do that. And the whole time I was just working on myself. And then now that I be popping out, because I'm not broke, I have the money to be able to do it. Because that was another thing. Another reason why I was up in the house was being outside didn't make sense. I didn't have the money. So I didn't feel like being outside was even worth being outside. The only thing I could do was go drink, go to the club, and that's it. And it just got played out after a while. And I wanted more for myself. So going out to the club wasn't just something that I just wanted to do just to do it. It just keeps you stuck. And then one thing I noticed about the club was that people use the club for escapism. So they want to escape their reality. They want to escape their they just want to escape their life. And I wanted to get to a point where I didn't want to escape my life. I didn't want to have to go out to the club to have a good time. I wanted my life to be a good time. So I decided to make the necessary sacrifices by staying up in the house, saving my money, investing in myself for me to live a life that I did not want to escape. And I got talked about bad because of this. But at the time, like, people didn't see my vision. But it wasn't their vision to have. It was mine. So people can talk. People still talking because I'm out the house. But it's like now they're like, oh, she thinks she better. No, this is the life that I prayed for. This is the life that I sacrificed for. This is the life that I asked for. This is the life that I wanted. I aligned myself with the life that I have. You're mad. I don't know why. That's crazy. But you have to understand that the life that you want will require you to sacrifice things. So in my 20s, in my mid to late 20s, I decided to sacrifice and not go out all the time. I decided to really lock in with myself, reading, educating myself, leveling up with my fitness, my nutrition, because I knew if I feel good, I will also have the confidence to want to step outside of my comfort zone. So there was a lot of that, but everyone just focused on how I was just to myself up in the house all the time. So I just want to make it known that you can't listen to those people. Like, those people only care about outside validation. They have to go outside to be validated. They have to be seen. They have to get attention. If they don't get attention, if someone does not validate them with attention, they're not going to do well. Like, they're not going to feel good about themselves. You're feeding your mind, you're feeding your energy differently. And they don't understand that. They don't understand that you could be in the house, educating yourself, creating opportunities for yourself, stacking your money, whatever the case may be. They don't understand that that's how you're feeding yourself. That's how you're validating yourself. That's where you get your confidence from. They don't understand that. They only look for the confidence, and they only look for the validation from outside influences. So they go and they seek it, and they have to seek it frequently to the point where they're outside all the time. And then, y'all, these same people, I swear, they always play catch up in life. They do. I'm in my 30s. I'm comfortable. But this is what I planned for. I sacrificed in my 20s so I could be comfortable in my 30s. I had the energy. I had way more energy in my 20s than I do in my 30s. Thank God I sacrificed in my 20s so that I could be comfortable in my 30s. Now, those same people that were talking shit are now playing catch up in their 30s. Some of them have kids. Some of them are just tired. Some of them are so used to fast food and drinking constantly that they don't understand how they feed their bodies is actually what is causing them to not have the energy to catch up or to course correct. So it's like now they have to scramble, literally scramble, to try to figure out how they can level up when it's something that they could have been doing, but because they were seeking outside validation from people that they're no longer cool with, or people that are so irrelevant that don't even matter, now they have to scramble to try to get their life together. That's why I'm always going to tell you, you're never too young to make wise choices. You're never too old to change your life. You're never too old. 30 is still young. 40 is still young. 50 is still young. I don't care what. You are never too old to change your life, and you're never too young to make wise choices. You just have to be dedicated to growth and change, and understand that with change comes sacrifice. With change, you have to let go of people, places, and things, and you have to do things differently. So a lot of people don't want to do that. And then playing catch up, just because you're playing catch up doesn't mean it has to take a long time. A lot of people don't get started because they feel like, oh, I'm 30 now, I'm 40 now, I have to play catch up. And you're thinking that it's going to take forever. It may just take a few months of dedication and consistency. But because you're allowing your age to be a big factor for you, you're going to keep yourself stuck in life. You are not old. Y'all, I don't know what it is with this generation. Everyone feels like they old just because they hit 30 or 40 years old. You are not old. Like, the hell, why are you aging yourself? And that's what I'm saying. Like, the mentalities, age makes you wiser. That's valuable. That's valuable to yourself and to others. Age is nothing. I will never forget when I was in this all women's gym, there was 60-year-old, 70-year-old women in there knocking out, like lifting weights. I'm like, I was so inspired. I was like, damn, they made 60 look so young. They made 70 look so young. Your mind is what's holding you back. It's not your age. It's not. It's your mind. And you need to program it differently. You really do. Because I've seen that and I'm just like, girl, you are not old. The hell are you talking about? Yo, I cannot stand it. You can level up at any milestone. I don't care how old, how young you are. It's just a matter of choice. That's it.
People that want to win be in the house.
Listen, being in the house, you be saving money too. Let's talk about that. You be saving money. Let's also talk about the cycle breakers. I want to talk about the cycle breakers for a sec too, because you gonna leave a lot of people in your lifetime because you're a cycle breaker. You're not the type of person where you go along to get along. You're the type of person that cuts things off because you're trying to break a cycle. So you're going to carry a very detached nature, and you cannot feel bad about it. So you may detach from certain family members. You may detach from certain jobs. You will never be completely comfortable in life when it comes to just staying in one spot or one place. You're a cycle breaker. So you're going to carry a very detached nature. It does not make you a bad person. It makes you an evolved person because you're breaking cycles.
There are persons that are on the planet now that are the cycle breakers. They're the ones that are breaking the mold of their family line. They're the ones that are breaking the patterns that came through their family line. And the reason why they're able to do this is because they're the ones who actually came and actually have the ability to feel all the pain from their entire lineage. Everybody else was numbing and dumbing down the pain, numbing the emotional trauma, numbing it down, keeping it as a family secret, pretending it wasn't happening, hoping that it would disappear.
So another thing that I want to point out too is me being up in the house was me breaking cycles. I could have easily been an escapist and just went to the club, drink, smoke, come home, go to work, do it all over again. I've been dedicated to breaking cycles for a very long time, starting with my body, my nutrition, my emotional health and well-being. Now I'm focusing on finances. I'm focusing on emotional health. I'm also focusing on spiritual development. Like, how much can I develop spiritually? I believe that I can heighten my spiritual connection. So I'm also working on that. Like, there's no limit. When you are a cycle breaker, you're going to continue to create higher limits for your family lineage. And so I've been dedicated to that. But another thing that I've noticed too, with being a cycle breaker, you lead. People watch you. They see you. And they see the positive changes you've made within yourself and over your life. And they tend to follow you. So I've had family members follow in my footsteps by me choosing to truly just be dedicated to breaking cycles. My older brother, he stopped drinking. He used to be a heavy drinker, heavy. And I noticed that I think he doesn't drink often, but whenever he does drink, it's just a beer. And he used to be such a heavy drinker. I mean, I've seen this man chug a bottle of Hennessy, Crown, Grey Goose. I've seen him just chug alcohol. Alcoholism in my family is a generational cycle for sure. So my younger brother, he never was into alcohol, but my older brother, he took to alcohol pretty heavily. And then I would say I came in second. And so I noticed with him, he just stopped drinking. And he's more focused on his health. He's more focused on taking care of his body and things like that. So you also have to understand that when you're a cycle breaker, you don't have to be the oldest in your family. You just have to be a cycle breaker, and people will follow your lead. They will see the changes that you're making and how it positively impacts you, and they want that for themselves, and so they start to mirror what you are doing.
And it was just being passed down the bloodline. What's happening now, which is part of the whole awakening process, is that there are a group of people that are here on the planet now that are feeling everything from their entire bloodline. And they're feeling it so they can break it, shut it down. It looks like a mental health.
And they said
They decided, hey. And to people who are looking on, especially in their family, they're going to say, oh, you are mentally unstable because you are not willing to suppress this pain like your grandmother and your great-grandmother and everybody else did. You are not willing to. What's wrong with you? There's something wrong with you. So we really have to be very careful about how we look at mental health within the context of the awakening. Because some of the people that are experiencing all of this is because they're the ones, buck stops right here. I am not taking this. I am not passing this on to my child. I am going to rebel. I'm going to act crazy until y'all get it.
So I love cycle breakers, y'all. Shout out to the cycle breakers. Give the video a thumbs up for the cycle breakers. Seriously, being a cycle breaker is so hard because you live in truth. You deal with truth. You don't run from it. You don't just go along with things just because that's how it's always been. You're the one to call it out and call it what it is. You're not afraid to speak up. You're not afraid to call out the BS. So shout out to y'all because it's a hard life. Like, honestly, it's a hard life. People always try to make it seem like we're the villains, and we're not. We're creating the positivity. Literally, we just lead with truth and it hurts people's feelings. It's just crazy. And then people project on us like we're a bully. But it's like, how can we be a bully when we're just living and speaking from a truthful perspective? Like, we're not just trying to go along with things just because it's not. And then it's not half the time. The stuff isn't right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not morally right. It's not emotionally sound. It's not it's not purposeful at all. It's just convenient, and it just breeds comfortability for people, and they just cool with that. And it's like we come in and we shake things up because that's what we do, and people get so upset. People get so upset. People are so upset. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know. Yeah, people are comfortable living a lie. And I've accepted that. I'm like, some people, they don't want to live in the truth. Living the truth is very scary. Living in truth is very, 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 very scary because, like, you got to deal with the emotions that come with that. When you live a lie, right? You deal with the emotions that come with the lie. A lot of the lies that we're told is to make us feel better. Like, it's to make us feel good. It's to make us feel comfortable. Living in the truth is like, you really have to deal with things from a real place. And so sometimes those emotions that come from a real situation or a real place, it's not the best feeling in the world. Like, the emotions that are associated with it could be anger. It could be anxiousness. It could be you feel insecure because the truth is triggering your insecurities. It could be a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of that. Okay, I'm going to just ban you. I don't even know why. Like, why come in the chat and troll me? I don't get it. Okay, let me continue. Let me go back to my reaction.
There are persons that are...
Screen. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so I want to talk about this Kendrick Lamar thing real quick.
Now, I love Kendrick. I love the fact that being a hater can end up being a success. But this performance, I just thought it was really mediocre for me. Maybe because I'm not a hardcore Kendrick fan. There was a lot of the songs that I didn't know. I knew some of the mainstream ones. Like when SZA came, I was like, yes, twin. The rest of them, I don't know. I thought the visuals was amazing. We had Samuel Jackson come on as Uncle Tom, and then obviously the dancers came and the American flag, and then obviously he performed They're Not Like Us. I just thought it was an okay performance. There are a lot of people on the internet who are like, oh my God, you just didn't understand. One thing I cannot stand is fake deepness. I come to watch the Super Bowl to watch a performance. I didn't come to think. I don't want to feel like I'm reading a book. So when I'm seeing, oh, but you did not understand the allegoric significance of when the dancers were wearing blue, and the blue means it signifies the sadness of the American like, I just want to dance. I don't want to watch a performance and then have to read a book to understand what the performance was about, okay?
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this. First and foremost, I want to make this known that if you didn't like the performance, that's your opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. You didn't like the performance, that's your opinion, cool, right? But my issue with people who think like this is how they want you to think. They actually, let me reframe that. This is what they want you to do. They don't want you to think. That's the whole point and purpose, is they want you to just be entertained. They don't want you to think outside the box. They don't want you to critically think for yourself at all. They just want you to be entertained. That's it. And then they want you to be entertained with putting the truth in your face. So then they can continue to play with you. So you're allowing someone to play in your face. And you're okay with that. You're basically saying, I'm okay with them playing in my face as long as they entertain me. I'm okay with that. So let's get into how they was playing in your face and you were upset. So one thing that I want to point out, a lot of people are saying that in the opening scene, the EXO, like that was the remote controller. And I disagree with that. This is my perspective. This is just simply my opinion. The opening scene wasn't the remote controller for the game system. It was tic-tac-toe. No, not tic-tac-toe. What is it called? The game is called tic-tac-toe. So before TikTok, it was tic-tac-toe. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is tic-tac-toe was a game that originated from the ancient Egyptians. The Romans stole the game and they played the game using stones, but it originated from the Egyptians and they used to make the X's and the O's. Now, let's get into what the game symbolizes. So it has a long history. It dates back thousands of years. It is believed to have been played in ancient Egypt, with similar grid-based games found in Roman ruins, dating as far back as the 1st century. So what it symbolizes, tic-tac-toe symbolizes and represents balance, duality, strategy. Since it often ends in a draw when both players use optimal moves, it can be seen as a lesson in equality, or it could also be it could be a lesson in equality or foresight or forethought. Some even associate it with deeper philosophical meanings, such as the illusion of choice or the inevitability of predetermined outcomes in a structured system. So that's why I believe that it is tic-tac-toe. But it does not start there. It doesn't stop there, though. So another thing that I wanted to ask too, I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, what is this, like a simulation? Like, what is tic-tac-toe basically leading towards the fact that this could possibly showcase a simulation on a world stage? So ChatGPT was like, tic-tac-toe can be like a computer simulation of the game, or are you referring to a deeper meaning or idea, such as the game being a metaphor for living in a simulated reality? And of course, I'm like, well, of course, why not? Then it says, if you mean a computer simulation, tic-tac-toe is often used as a beginner's project in artificial intelligence programming. Now think about this, because this all originated from Egypt. That's how smart they were. So technically, an algorithm was created before the algorithm, if that makes sense. Okay? So if you mean a computer simulation, tic-tac-toe is often used. Oh, wait, I already read that. Then it says here, okay, so tic-tac-toe is often used as a beginner's project in artificial intelligence and programming. It's a simple game to simulate because it has a number of possible moves and can be solved using algorithms like the Minimax algorithm. So it also states that if you're thinking in terms of a simulation theory, the idea that reality itself might be a simulation. Reality itself might be a simulation. Reality itself might be a simulation. Okay, we got that? Because I just need to point that out, because that's basically what Kendrick was putting on with his performance. Like, we are in a simulation. Did y'all catch that? I did. I was like, damn, wait a minute. So then it also says here that tic-tac-toe could serve as a metaphor for how choices and outcomes are structured within a system, since the game is deterministic, meaning that with perfect play, the outcome is predictable. It could reflect the idea that our own reality may operate under coded rules and constraints. Isn't that crazy? So then I was like, okay, let me look up the simulation meaning. So a simulation is a representation or imitation of a real world process, system, or event, often used for analyst training or experimentation. It can be physical, like a flight simulator for pilots, or digital, like a computer program modeling weather patterns or economic systems. In a broader sense, a simulation can also refer to the idea that what we perceive as reality might be an artificial or programmed experience. This is known as the simulation theory. Some philosophers and scientists have proposed that if advanced civilizations can create highly realistic simulations, we might already be living in one. So when you look at the Kendrick's performance, it's just basically, yes, we live in a system. It's rigged. Did you catch that? Kendrick was like, the system is rigged. I caught that too. So I was like, okay, the system is rigged. Yes, it's like a Sims game, literally. Remember when I told you that they put the truth in your face and then they call it fiction? But then they also create games, board games, or just games in general that also expose the system but gives you cheat codes if you play the games, but you play the games from a different perspective. Like, you're not playing the game to be entertained like they want you to be. You play the game to learn the cheat codes. I've been trying to put y'all on to that. Also, did you catch the fact that Drake played the American game like a white woman? Did y'all catch that? Monopoly is huge. I'll be trying to put people onto that game. But tic-tac-toe, I forgot about tic-tac-toe until I was looking at the performance and I was like, wait a minute. So then I started looking into the history of tic-tac-toe. Had no idea it went all the way back to the ancient Egyptians, which is so interesting. But yeah, Drake is a Karen. Also, did you see how Uncle Sam or Uncle Tom, whichever you want to refer to him as, I also want to make it known that Uncle Tom and Uncle Sam, if you notice, there's always an opposition when it comes to us as Black people in the system. There's always going to be an Uncle Tom or Uncle Sam. Kendrick is also being used as the opposition. Were y'all getting that? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, he performed a ritual, he was doing this and he was doing that. Kendrick knows he's being used. He knows that. So because he's being used, he's willing to sacrifice himself to speak the truth to you. Now, could he be an opposition in the sense of a Cat Williams, who allegedly is a paid opposition, meaning he gets paid by Hollywood? Possibly. But what it seems to me, just based off of Kendrick's entire career, he's truly been dedicated through his lyrics that he's a different type of artist. Now, could he be a paid opposition, but he's willing to sacrifice himself for the people? Possibly. Could he be a paid opposition where he's just playing his role and just being an entertainer? Possibly. I'm not here to deny either perspective. What I just want people to understand is don't be what they want you to be. Be unpredictable. You got to start critically thinking for yourself instead of just wanting to be entertained all the time. I get it. It's the Super Bowl. A lot of people watch the Super Bowl to be entertained. Hell, we watch the commercials to be entertained. The whole program is to be entertained. But again, that is exactly what they want. They want you to be entertained. They don't want you to critically think for yourself at all. They want you to be in the simulation so that they can experiment off of you, so that they can see how you respond to certain things, so that they can keep their data and keep their records and pick us apart. And look, we're like whole experiments. You are aware that even when it comes to how we utilize social media, the conversation on social media, what we engage in, the algorithm and how all of that works, which goes all the way back to the Egyptian times, which is insane. You are aware that this is all what they want. Like, this is how they use us. This is how they feed off of us. It's really crazy. So then another thing too that Samuel L., who played Uncle Tom, Uncle Sam, whoever, he said, too loud, too restless, too ghetto. Do you really know how to play the game? Tighten up. Oh, y'all. Let me read that again. Samuel L. Jackson said that too loud, too restless, too ghetto. Do you really know how to play the game? Tighten up. I was like, oh my God. That went over a lot of people's heads too. It did. Because a lot of people don't know how to play the game. They think, first of all, it's the same type of black folks that are like, oh, the game is rigged. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna steal, or I'm just gonna go rob, or I'm just gonna go do some corruption and things like that. That's what they want you to do. You are aware. They want you to be loud. They want you to be ghetto. They want you to be a criminal. They literally want you to do those things. Like, they literally set you up to fall into those things, because then they can use it against you. So you being too loud, you being so restless and ghetto and things like that, you make it easy on them. But when you take a different approach, right, and it will require you to take a higher perspective. Did you notice during the Kendrick Lamar performance that the only way you could really move through this system is spiritually? Did you pick up on that? Did you see the angels that were around him? Did you see the angels, aka ancestors, the angels, the spirits? Did you see that he had them around him? And Uncle Sam was like, oh, I see you brought your homeboys. Those were angels, babes. Did you see that? Did you see the divine feminine that was in her dark feminine energy wearing all red? Did you see that? Because I was picking up a lot of stuff. I was like, damn, he really, and that's what was so crazy was people were like, I didn't like the performance. I'm like, so much thought went into this. So much thought, like so much creativity went into this. Because another thing that I was picking up on is the duality that was seen in everything that he put together, that you could see it from a dual perspective too. Like, you didn't have to just see it for what it was. Like, you could actually see it from multiple different perspectives. And so I was just like, it was like, yes, it was creatively genius. And it's like, people are like, oh my God, this performance was so terrible. It was a masterpiece. Exactly. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is so incredible. I had to watch it a few times to really take it all in. Y'all, it was a lot. It was a lot. I was pumped. But then he talked about how the culture is divided. So there's a cultural divide. I stand by the fact that Kendrick knows he's being used and he's okay with that. That's what I think. Now, I'm not going to lie though. his wife and what he stands for, I don't understand that, because Cat Williams said they always have a light-skinned wife. So I'm like, I don't know. But Kendrick knew his wife since before Fame. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think about that. Also, what else did he talk about? He tells us that the game is rigged. I could also see the blue and the red and the white being Democrats, Republicans, and liberals. I could see that point of view as well. But I also believe that the blue was divine masculine and the red was divine feminine and the white was our ancestors or our angels. I could see it from that perspective as well. I mean, there's a lot of different perspectives that you could take away from the Kendrick's performance. But one thing that I just really wanted to point out is that he said that the game is rigged. That's what he said, black people. He said that the game is rigged. So how can you be creative like Kendrick with his performance? Because he was very creative. Like I said, masterpiece, right? How can you be creative and move through the system spiritually? Because that's the only way you're going to get through it. It's like a maze. The only way you're going to get through the system that's rigged, you're going to have to tap into your spirituality more. That was so evident because the protection that he had, that he displayed with the white angels, was the only way he was able to move. And did you notice how he started speeding up when the angels was around him? When the angels was guiding him, when the angels was protecting him, he was able to move and speed up and move faster, undetected. Like, this man put so much thought into this performance. Like, he put so much creativity. I hate that the culture in masses didn't really see it for real. Like, I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So, again, how are you about to move forward, right? Like, what can you do for the culture? What can you bring to the culture? How can you elevate the culture? Knowing that the game is rigged. But see, a lot of us are like, oh, we got to play the game, and the only way we can play the game is on the straight and narrow. Playing on the straight and narrow is not gonna get you there, but tapping in spiritually will. It's the spirituality that is disconnecting you from being able to move through the system and being able to move through it covered, protected, and where you're still able to influence and elevate other people. So tap into your spirituality more. Get better connected with God, your ancestors, your spirit team, whatever you truly believe in. Start meditating more, start praying more. Just start that connection. It's going to help you move through the system effortlessly. Did you not see how he was able to move? And he was moving on that stage. He was moving when the white figures came. He was moving fast, but he was protected and he was covered. I kind of expected the Caucasian people to respond that way. They don't understand our culture, so I wasn't really offended by the things that they say because, I mean, they don't understand our culture, so it wasn't really for them. Like, not to be shady, but it's like so much in this system is for them. The Super Bowl was for us, so I didn't expect for them to really get it. But what I was kind of disappointed in, it wasn't even that black people were saying that, oh, I didn't like the performance, it wasn't the best. It was the simple fact that people were saying that they didn't want to think. That's what really bothered me. I have no issue with people saying, oh, I didn't like the performance. I just didn't like it. The energy wasn't there. And then they went into like real details about why they didn't like it. I'm not really mad at the people that were like that. I'm mad at the people that were saying, I just didn't want to think. Y'all, that's what it was. It was the people that were saying they didn't want to think. And then these be the same type of people where they be like, I don't want to think, right? Because I'll never forget that girl from the Korean Storytime. She was the same way. She was saying how she didn't want to think. And her not thinking got her facing federal prison time in a foreign country. What do you mean you don't want to think? Like, I would rather you think and say, oh, I didn't like the performance. Cool. But to say, I didn't like the performance. I don't want to think. Y'all, that was such a wild take, y'all. And I've seen so many people have that take, and I'm like, okay. All right. So what I gathered from the Kendrick, let me wrap it up. What I gathered from the Kendrick Lamar's halftime show was, we are in a system. It's rigged. The only way you can move through the system is by tapping in to God, your ancestors. Okay, that's the only way you're gonna get through the system. That's the only way we were freed from slavery. That's the only way you're gonna be able to break barriers, break cycles, create change, create a revolution. This is a spiritual game now. We are now stepping into a new world where it's all about spirituality. Everyone's waiting on a revolution or a civil war. It's already here. It's spiritual. Are you plugged in, sis? Or are you plugged into the matrix? Maybe you need to disconnect from the matrix so you can see what's really going on. Because there's a war going on. There's war going on right now. But it's spiritual, though. You can't see it with the naked eye. You can't see it if you're not thinking for yourself. You can't see it if you're not spiritually tapped in. And that's what Kendrick was saying. He was like, the system is so rigged that the only way you're going to beat this war is through spirituality. Okay? That's what I gathered. I thought it was dope. I loved it. You're gonna, and then did you see how it ended, where the whole stage went black? He was telling you to turn off your television because it's programming you, sis. It's programming you. It's programming you. It's programming you. And they're able to get in your mind and control it that way. Like, I don't want to think. I just want to be entertained. So they have programmed you to only want that you can't be entertained while also being educated. You can only be entertained. Duality is a real thing. You can be entertained and be educated at the same time. You don't have to pick this or that. You can have both. You don't have to be in a scarcity mindset where you feel like you can only accept this over that. Why can't you have it all? Why are they wanting to put limits on yourself where the only thing that you can do is be entertained? Game is over when you unplug. Game is over when you tap in. The game is over. And then you might as well tap in because the game is rigged. So you're never going to win if you play in the way that they want you to. You got to tap in spiritually so you can be out here moving different. And that's what Kendrick was trying to say without saying, and he was willing to sacrifice himself to get the message to you, which was something that I believe he did. I know that he's being used. He knows he's being used. He knows. But he was willing to do it for y'all, for the culture, because he believes that was his purpose. He believes that him being on that stage in that moment, I believe that Kendrick thought that was his purpose. So he sacrificed himself, and he knew that he was being used while doing it. That's what I believe. Just my opinion, though. So I'm going to leave you with, what do you plan on doing spiritually in this system that you know is rigged? How are you going to get your piece of the pie? Because with everything the world is changing, you're going to get a piece of the pie. You have to believe that you're going to get a piece of the pie, but you need to tap in spiritually. Seriously. There's so much greatness out here for you to have, for you to obtain. You got to see, like, where can I fit in? Like, what can I bring to the table? My talents, my motivation, my energy. Like, what can I bring to the table? Because now that we know that the game is rigged, and we know the only way we can get through the system is through spirituality. What can I do? What can I bring? What talents do I have? Where can I fit in to be a part of the change? It's spiritual war. So that's what you need to focus on, and less on a civil war or a revolution. Like, you got to understand that time repeats itself, but then you also have to keep in mind the times that we're in. It's like war is not going to look the same. It's going to look different. Like, sometimes war is the digital war that we're going through with, oh my God, with AI, and how there's a war on humans. You know, like, war can look differently. You know what I'm saying? So we think war is going to come in the way that it has in the past. Not necessarily. It's going to come in differently. So the revolution is going to be spiritual. And I believe that that's the world that we're entering into, which is why you see more people tapping into spirituality, or more people tapping into their religion, or more people getting connected to their religion. They're praying to God more. They're doing things from a spiritual perspective because it's helping them work through all the crazy stuff that's going on outside. It's helping us be able to survive in this system, knowing that all of these bad things keep happening around us. And it's almost like they want us to be scared. They want us to be afraid. They want us to be just so uncomfortable with every little thing now. And then have us purchase things or buy things. Like the power grid was supposed to go out. And it's like, well, when the power grid gonna go out? Wasn't it supposed to go out already? And then it's like this optics too, where I feel like I believe they be out here creating disasters and things like that. Not all the time, but it just seems like when a real disaster happens, then they create another one as an opposition for a political move or a political agenda. It gives the Hunger Games. Like, it really does. So all we can do, because we're in the game, is just like in the Hunger Games, prep, gather resources, make sure you're not at odds with people, create a community. This is not the time to be divided. The culture is divided and we need to come together. So you may not be able to connect with everybody in the community, but you can find your people that are like-minded that you should be connecting with so that you can share resources and things with. Seriously. That's what I thought. That I don't. Well, yeah, the grid, but I'm talking about there's supposed to be a whole power outage. So across several different states, many different states, from north to south. That's what I thought. Even the Midwest. So I'm interested, like a global outage. That's what I thought. But we'll see. All you can do is prepare, because again, we're in a game. It's rigged. So you never know what's going to be next. But even with tic-tac-toe, right? We are able to predict certain outcomes. Because think about tic-tac-toe. When you look at tic-tac-toe and you look at the board, you see the other opponents. You see the possible moves that they can make. So that means that their next move can be predicted, which is why I think in the beginning of the halftime show, Super Bowl, it was the tic-tac-toe board. It was not the gaming system. I could see it from that perspective. But they were basically saying that you can predict what their next move is going to be. But are you looking at it from a perspective of you're in a game, you're in a simulation, so you'll be able to predict their next move? How can you predict their next move? Think about tic-tac-toe. A pattern. You're picking up the patterns that can be taken, right? With tic-tac-toe. The next move, they have their your X, their next move, you can see what it could possibly be. You can see them make this move, that move, or this move. That's the game on tic-tac-toe, is being able to predict the next move. So you kind of have to pay attention to, well, what do they normally do? What do they normally do? They normally take this move. They normally make this move. They normally do this, or they normally do that. So you can predict their next move, but you got to accept the fact that you're in a simulation. The game is rigged, and the only way you can move through the system is through tapping into your spirituality. Yeah, they're fear-mongering the hell out of us. I really think they're trying to bring our vibrations down. They do. They normally lie, or they create either diversion or an optic. They literally do something to where it will distract us. So, and that's what I'm trying to tell people that want to be entertained. It's like, that's what they want you to be, is distracted. So then they can make their moves that we could have easily predicted, but because we're focused on being entertained, we missed it or we forgot about it. The triangle was the occult. Y'all know what the triangle is. You know, the occult is always, the hidden knowledge is always going to pop up. It's always going to pop up. You got to know, they're going to throw that triangle in there. And then this time the triangle was upside down. Come on. The triangle was upside down. It gives the Freemasons. That's what it's the Freemasons out here. That's, can I even pull it up? Cause you know that's they signature. I believe they have the upside down. Yup. I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I think it was the upside down is the Freemason. It's the hidden knowledge, you know, the pyramid, but this time they put it upside down. I believe it was that. It could have been, it could be something else, but I believe that's what it was. Let me see what the upside down spiritual mean. I never even thought about it like that. I didn't even think to ask that. Oh, divine feminine energy. Remember I told y'all divine feminine energy was all up in here? So the upside down triangle, it holds deep spiritual and symbolic meanings across various cultures and traditions. And here are some of the key interpretations. So divine feminine energy, water element and emotion, spiritual awakening and inner transformation, sacred geometry and balance, rooting and grounding energy. This is so interesting. It symbolizes intuition, nurturing, creation, contrasting with the upward triangle, which represents masculine energy. So it's, again, it's duality. I feel like it's duality, but I also feel like Sony is behind the performance. So I don't know. It could be, you know how I believe when Hollywood or like the people that are really in power and in control, there's always dual meanings to what they do. Always. Sometimes multi-dimensional meanings to what they do. And it's like trickster energy. So you could take the positive in what you see, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to receive the positivity, but I'm also peeping the dark side of it too. Because one thing I noticed with them, it's like a chessboard. There's on one side, it's white chess pieces, and on the other side is black chess pieces, and it creates the balance on the board. So in everything that I see and everything that I do, or in everything that they do, I see the duality. Like there's always dual meanings to everything that they do, because it's to like trick your mind. Like it's to have you think that you're being ridiculous, but you can see how it can go either way. But then you're left to critically think, well, are they good people or are they bad people? Are the people in this system good people or are they bad people? Are these politicians good people or are they bad people? You know, like the people in power, are they good people or are they bad people? It always gives you that thought process of, maybe not. Like maybe they are good people. So again, like they always create an opposition to hide their true motives and their true intentions. So it's to distract you on this, but to not pay attention to what's actually going on over here. So that's what I think. But again, I could be wrong. Y'all let me know what you think down below. What do you think some of the spiritual messages that came from Kendrick's performance? What was some things that maybe I missed? What were some things that you noticed outside of the things that I discussed? And what are you taking away from the performance? Like now that you know, because I'm y'all, the game is rigged. So you don't got to keep beating yourself up like, oh my God, why is life so hard? Like, oh my God, like, why is it so hard for Black people to prosper in the system? It's rigged. And I believe Dr. Martin Luther King knew that towards the end. And I also believe that, oh my God, he my fave, y'all. Cause he knew that we wasn't, oh my God, why can I not think of his name? Malcolm X. Malcolm X knew it was a setup. He knew that they wasn't going to give us fair opportunities. He knew And I believe Martin Luther King knew towards the end, but it was too late. It was too late. So Malcolm X, though, he was like, oh no, like once he figured it out, he was on some Haitian activity. He was on some Haitian Independence Day activity. You get what I'm saying? So and I keep referencing the Haitians simply because they have the Independence Day, but also they use spirituality to beat them. You know what I'm saying? They did. That's why they keep Haiti poor. You see how they do Haiti? They do Haiti so bad, y'all. It's disgusting. But they do that on purpose because of history. Because of history. Because they know that they use their spirituality to get them up out of that hell and cause havoc. So that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts and your opinions down below in the comment section after the playback, and I will catch you in my next one. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's day. Don't be working too hard in the system that's rigged. F them people at your job. Just collect your check and go home. Get them benefits, pay them bills, take care of them kids. What else? Oh, tomorrow, my friendship workshop. I'm really excited about that. So I'll be seeing you tomorrow. I won't be on any of my other platforms, but I will be on Patreon and I will be in Discord. So if you have any questions, just hit me up in the Patreon tab. If you have questions about the friendship workshop or any questions, really, just let me know. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's day. Thank you for tuning in. I do gotta run.